Good evening, Hyperspinners. Today we're going to be talking about how to set up LED Blinky, so get ready. First things first, what we're going to be doing is downloading LED Blinky, and what this program is essentially a way to control all of your RGB buttons that you have installed. So the dream is based on the system that you have selected on Hyperspin, the layout of your buttons will display basically a guide on how to use that system's controls. So you can also create custom animations and match the RGBs based on music. There's a lot of neat little things that you can really do with this. So first things first is just downloading LED Blinking, and you're going to click on download. You're going to download the latest version, and what it will do is allow you to have a trial version. And what is in that trial version is just a basic ability to use LED Blinky. You'll be able to create an animation of 25 frames, which is absolutely not enough to do really anything. It's really just that. It's a trial version. It just allows you to show you a feature of saving basically a button or two to animate. But outside of that, it also has a splash screen, so every time you launch your front end, you'll run into that splash screen for a minute or two, and that takes away the experience. So so once you provide support for the software, you'll have everything unlocked. You'll be able to create animations for as long as you want, and that is really it. So once you get that donation over to the author, he was relatively quick. I feel like it took maybe 12 hours before I got the files that would allow me to have the full features. So anyhow, let's keep this short here. So what we're going to be doing is opening up. So once you've unzipped the file, which I'm going to be putting all of these on the Indie Movies FTP outside of the registration files, I'm going to be opening up Gen LED Blinky input map. And what this is doing is you're going to find that by default the board that you have for your RGB buttons are going to be up at the top. You've got nothing to do up here. It just automatically populates. You're going to see a couple things up here. That's going to be how you map things, and then here's all of the buttons. So essentially, when you first open this, you're going to see it all blank. So for example, 10 is what you would see here, is blank here. And how you would populate that is select the port would be default, the port label, so it's whatever is associated to that button. You'll know it because once you look at your panel here, it will be lit up. And then the LED type. You're going to be selecting whatever you see here. So, as you select here, so if I select, let's say port 1, that is my coin button. What I did is I see red lit up on the coin for player 2. So what I did is I selected port label P2 coin and then LED type, and I selected red because that's what I see. So if I go down to 2, I see the LED button has changed to green, so I selected green, and then I selected blue. So you'll do that 3 times for every button that you have. And what you'll also do before you move on is select the input. So player 2 is number 6 for my panel. So all I do is I go down to the appropriate button, and then I just click on the left arrow there. So that's how you get that over there, and you hit set port. So you'll do that every single time. You'll select the drop downs, select your key code, and then you'll hit set port. And you'll just go down the list. You can see there's quite a bit. And for the trackballs, this is what I did. I select trackball and then trackball input. And then for joysticks, joystick 1, I basically selected each one of these buttons, so up, down, left, right. I selected up, and then pushed left arrow down, left arrow. So they all are pipe delimited here. What I did notice is after you do the first one, blue here, when you selected green and red, it automatically populated that, which is kind of nice. So once you've done that, all you gotta do is hit save up at the top left, and you've got things mapped. So next, we're looking at the animation bit of things. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up the LED Blinky config file, and this is going to allow you to basically start your adventure with LED Blinky. So I'm gonna go just right through my settings here. The game options, I've got light game controls and the player start and coin buttons. I created a loading animation, and then the pause animation I've just got random montage. You see everything that's checked here. I've got primary controls off, and that's basically when the Siri will say, player 1 controls up, down, left, right. Like I don't need to know like that kind of stuff. Like I know the joystick, you use that to move the dude around. Anyhow, so I'm going to keep on going here. So you see everything that's checked. FE, I'm using Hyperspin, of course. And depending on your front end, you've got FE options here, so you can select your launch box, Melo, whatever. And that tab will be different. But your front end options, basically I've got set button flash to active, and I've created a custom startup animation, which I've displayed in a previous video, and I've got a single loop. And I've also got a front end custom animation. What I'll probably do is I'll just put the custom animations that I've made up on my Discord channel for supporting members. So enjoy that. The only caveat there is you might have to match up the buttons that I've got set up as well. So I start from the top right, and then I work my way to the top left, and then I work down to the top right, or sorry, the bottom right. So it just cycles through all the buttons. So it might be hard to borrow those, if you will, but those are readily available for you, or you can at least see how that's been done. And I'll show you where those files will go here in a minute. Next, we've got the Hyperspin tab. I've only got the bottom thing checked there, so I wanted to have the animations to be seamless, where you select a system and it loads, and then the new panel RGB will light up accordingly. So that is something that you want to kind of keep in mind, that you will have to kind of play around with it, but this is what worked out best for me. MAME config, you're going to go to your MAME folder and select each one of these folders, and the colors INI is actually what's going to display your game settings. So when you select a specific MAME game, what this essentially is a custom profile that allows you to have custom colors based on the original arcade cabinets. So that's kind of neat, and I'll show you how to get up and running there. And we're going to keep on moving on. So the MAME XML, they just need some sort of MAME XML that basically populates the type of games that you have, which I'll be including that as well. And then the audio animations, this is really specific to the jukebox feature, which I haven't set up yet, but I might do that for a later video, since this might be a longer video here, but I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible. So we're going to skip that tab, and then miscellaneous options. The only thing that I ended up changing, I've got servo sticks, so I checked that, and that is it. So that is the configuration application. You're going to see if you go up to tools, it's got all of the apps that you could possibly use. So we've already talked about the input map, which is important. That's how you're setting up your RGBs. The controller editor, which I don't think, so this is going to be custom made for you, because we're going to be using Rocket Blinky. So I'm not going to go too much into this, but if you wanted to, make a custom, let's go down to Nintendo here. So if you go down to Nintendo Entertainment System, you see the default. So basically that only shows you the so when you select NES and you start entering a game, so by default what it'll do is highlight buttons 1 and 2, B and A, and those are red. So it's based on the same sort of theme as the controller, and then everything else is not lit up. So you've got a really good way to kind of customize the feel of everything. And yeah, so what I'm trying to show you is you've got a way to really customize every single game if you really wanted to. So if I go down to MAME, so each one of these have a specific setup. So there's 10 yard, and if I go back to, let's say, 1943 and edit, you can see that the difference, it's basically just a way to provide some sort of instruction card of how to play the game, which is really nice. So that is what LED Blinky Controls Editor is all about. You literally just, well, I'll show you how to populate this really quickly. But all you do is just go to Edit, after you've selected one of these games or new, and then you just, type away here. So number of players, the common, I didn't really mess with that too much, but player 1 and player 2, basically you're just going to hit new. You're going to do the same sort of thing that we've been doing with the other mapper. You're just going to select the control button that you're after, so button 1, and then you'll say that's fire, and then you'll select the color. So that's really all there is to it. It's pretty easy to do, but I'm going to go ahead and cancel this, and we'll go on to the next application here. So let's close that up. And LED Animator. So this is pretty unique. So what this is just a way to animate your panel. And what we first got to do is create a layout. So I'm going to just open up the layout that I have here, and let's see. There we go. So by default, if you hit layout new, you're going to basically see all these buttons, and they're just going to be all jumbled up. And what you can do is just click on one of these, drag it around, and you just want to basically outline the panel that you have. And this is what mine looks like. And once you've done that, you literally are just moving this around. You can't move them all at once. And when you've clicked on one of these, it kind of gives you a bold border just to show you where it's at. So that's all that is. You're going to select Save As for the layout once you've done that. And then you're ready to animate. So I'm going to just open up one of the animations that I've done. All of these are found under the the LWA file. And what I'll do is I'll open up the front end one. And just for kicks here, basically up at the top, you can select Run LED Animation, and it will run across the animation. I apologize, guys. So the front end is the animation that is by default when I've got Hyperspin open, so there really isn't an animation. It's just showing you the buttons that you can press in Hyperspin. So let me go ahead and open up another animation. Let's say startup. There you go. So we'll run this animation now. Run. And you can't see it, but on the panel itself, it's doing exactly what it's programmed. And from there, you can kind of see, if we go through these frames, you can kind of see what it's doing. So I'm going to go ahead and just go through some of this. So that is what I'm seeing on my panel. So you can see it takes a lot of work. Each one of these are a frame, and all you've got to do is just like what you would do with a flip book, is create the colors here. So you can see that each frame looks the same. I'm just moving one of these buttons. So it literally is, this one front end animation is 350 frames. It didn't take too long, but it does take some time. But it is cool and satisfying after you've done it. So yeah, so when you create your animation, you're going to select new, and it's going to remember your panel that you've just created. and you just start going into it. So how you would do this, here, let's go ahead and do new here. So there's the panel itself. So if I wanted to light up the light bulb or the trackball, I would click on it and it covers the border there. And then what I do is just go down here, pick color, and I pick the color that I want it to be. So there it is. And then I push add frame, and you can see it's already selected. If I double click it, it removes the color itself. But I can change this to, let's say, white next, if I wanted to. Or if I wanted to, I don't know, make it green or something, I could certainly do that as well. So there's a number of options of, you know, what to do with your animation, but that is all there is to it. So once you've picked the color, yeah, I mean, that's it. So you just go in and, you know, do whatever you need to do with your frames, and then let's see, set color, set color, set color. Oh, the trackball itself is not an RGB, so that's why it wasn't populating. I was kind of wondering what's going on there. So it's only a blue for trackball, but everything else is an RGB. So when we select, let's say blue, and then we select yellow, you know, it's got that ability. So you literally just do that and then add a frame, and you just keep on going. And then you select run to view the animation, and that is really it. So we're going to add one of these, and we'll turn that off. We'll do run, and yeah. So it's going crazy on my panel, but if you just go through here, you can see how it works there. So that is it on the animation bit. All you've got to do is file save as, and remember you'll be populating that into that LWA folder. So that is the animation bit, and there are custom animations that you can use. If you go to, like, let's say fade up, you can essentially have all the buttons like slowly glow, which I guess we'll go ahead and select this. You'll kind of see that. So it says it requires 25 frames just to do that. So you can see there's that one button, how it's getting brighter. So that's kind of cool. And let's go ahead and keep moving just to keep this short here. So next, what we've got, we're almost done here. So we've got main output test, which I have not really used. Same with the simple LED test I have not used, and then the troubleshooter I've not used as well because I don't need to. So that is it there. So we are almost out of the woods now. The most exciting part is Rocket Blinky. This was created by the Rocket Launcher team, and what you do is just double click Rocket Blinky, and what you'll get is this guy right here. And you can see you're going to do the exact same thing what you just did with mapping your LED Blinky. You're going to select all of your keys for everything that you see here. And then you're going to select the admin buttons as well. And then you're going to say generate. And once you've selected generate, what that does is it takes basically all of the work that these guys have been doing, and it drops it into, I think it's the colors actually. So remember in the one of the apps where you could select the custom system RGBs and the games itself, this is basically populating all of that for you. So, you know, 005, that game, basically your coin in the start will be orange. It basically assigns all of the keys. So it's unbelievable work. I mean, there's thousands, well, I don't know the exact count. I feel like it's a little over 1,000 games that are on here that are already pre-programmed for you. So that is fantastic. And what I'm going to do is put this on Indie Movies FTP, and we're going to drop this under, let's see here. So all you'll have to do is just drop this anywhere in your Hyperspin setup. So just kind of keep that in mind, that it is unique to Hyperspin where it can be placed anywhere. I put it in the root folder of Hyperspin, And within your configurations, that app, you will make sure that your settings and everything are all mapped to your system. But let's go ahead and get this on here so it's easier for you to really work from. And we're gonna put this in any movies actually. We're going to put it under official, we're going to put it under Ninja Dojo, Hyperspin, and we are going to drop that in here. So I'm going to let that load. I'm going to take out the registration file, and it's yours for the taking. So I'm trying to think what else I need to mention, but that is how you program LED Blinky. Have fun, guys, and we'll catch you next time.